You know what I'm saying? Look, hey, I'm DJ Agony. Everything could be sold if you ask me. Looks like we live. Yep, red buttons at
What? I see the button.
yep,
Hey, hey,
red
hey,
buttons at
hey,
the
hey.
top. What's good, y'all? And I know y'all up here wondering, like, yo, DJ Agony on a Wednesday? Yeah, it's, I feel like out of 7 days out the week, I choose 8 of them to be dope. Uh,
Oh, okay. Okay. I like
right,
that. I like that.
right. I got a few of them. But yeah, it's your favorite host, two-time ATL's hottest DJ, the God himself, DJ Agony, or as I was known earlier this week, Doctor Dope. I'll tell y'all
Oh,
that's I'll tell y'all that story later.
you
I
didn't get
became
elevated. Somebody
I
elevated you.
I became the doctor of dope this week. I was like, yo, big shouts out to Atlanta Podcast. Was it the Atlanta Podcast? No, the podcast movement. They were
Oh,
here in
wow.
Atlanta. They were here in Atlanta Monday. It was such a great mixer. Like
Okay.
anybody was there, and if you weren't there, you should have been there
Oh,
because
wow.
it was
Okay.
a lot of information to be given out. And that's how I feel like that's how we got to get it. Go around some people that know a little bit more than you, and shut up and learn
Yep.
something.
That's it. That's it.
Best best way to do it. Now I don't know if y'all watching, y'all notice this young lady right here may sort of favor, but not really Nelly the Truth.
Maybe a
That's
little bit, kind
right.
of, sort of. No.
That's because she isn't. So tell them who you is, man. Tell them who you is.
I like how you added that in there. No, well, I am Shanta Bradley. So, hello, everyone. Thank you so much, DJ Acme, for having me on tonight.
Yeah, and if y'all were watching last week's show, she was the one that was in the comments like, add me, add me, add me, add me, add me, add me.
I look, clicking it like, hey, listen, I know there's a share button. Don't you have the share room? Can't you invite? What's going on? Like, get me on, get me on. I want to talk.
But it's like, you know what? Nah, this is obviously had a lot to say. And so I was like, you know what?
Mhm.
Let's give her all night. Big shouts out to my boy Soccer Boss. My godson is in the building watching. What's good with you, Skip? But yo, let's jump right into it because we messed around and actually gave some good stuff away before we clicked on live.
Before we click, right?
Right. But no, what I wanted to get on, let's go ahead and just jump right into the meat. Like
Yeah.
we skipped the bread and the lettuce. Let's jump to the meat. So
Okay.
the Herschel Walker incident, where Herschel
Yeah.
Walker said, and I will requote it. He
Yes.
said that slavery ended 130 years ago, and
Hmm.
black people should not be getting paid reparations,
Hmm.
and made a call for black people to forgive the country
Hmm.
for slavery.
Hmm. Yeah. And I was like, ooh. Now there's so much with that. Of course, we know there's so much with that. Now I will tell you, I am a believer in Christ. Everybody's not like that. Understand that. Understand that mindset and the concept. I was agreeing with him when it came to that we need to forgive. But oftentimes the problem is that when people hear the word forgive, they think that that means that you validate the actions that were done. And that's not what forgive means. Okay. So
Mm.
let me say that first. Let me say that first. Because when people hear that, they're like, oh my God, how you gonna, not forgive the country of all the stuff that honestly is still happening. So let me say that. Let's be very clear. I do not think that we are out of slavery. I just think there is more systematic ways of having of slavery now. So
Hmm.
no, we can't necessarily. We can all eat at the same restaurant. There's no sign out on the door that separates you from black and white. No, we don't have that. But we have still systematic slavery that's still happening. We see our credit system is set up that way. And I would love to get the articles, and I'm going to shoot that over, DJ Agnew, when we get off this call, but to shoot
Hmm.
over even about, there was an article about the previous director of Urban and Housing Authority, that he was back in the 60s and 70s. For about 20 years, he was actually the U.S. head director. And he was here at a university having a discussion and explaining about the differences and what was actually happening when we get this suburban area, what we consider now. So how we consider suburban uh, um, housing and all of that, and how that
Hmm.
actually came about. That in the beginning of that, that it was literally illegal to even sell a developer to sell a home to an African American. And if they did sell to an African American, then what would happen is that they would lose their licenses, they would get sanctioned, and that the deed on the home could actually become null and void. One of the mentions that he made was also that there are still some deeds. If you look at them in the 50s and the 60s, there's still deeds that are out here. Yes, they're not enforced, but legally, right, they're legally still on the books. And so even the transference of, if you purchased a home, say a white person purchased a home in one of these, suburban areas, and they decided for whatever reason to leave it to someone who was African American descent, that would be considered illegal. So my point is that we still have slavery and racism that is going on. I don't want to deny that. I don't want to water that down in any kind of way before I say in regards to what he's saying. But when it comes to my thought process, and I say my thought process because everybody don't have that. As a believer in Christ, the Bible tells us that we are to forgive those who do anything to us, okay? And so it is important to acknowledge, I believe in that, because if you are a believer, and again, this is only for believers of Jesus, because everybody doesn't believe the same way, okay? But if you are, then yes, we do need to acknowledge that. However, what is also important is that we need to stand up and we need to speak about the injustice that's still going on. Again, like we always say, George Floyd and all of these people, so many people that you could name who have, been killed through the police department. I mean, literally, what other country can you go to and they got a video of them killing somebody on video? We see exactly what happens and they still walk free. That's a problem. That's a problem, right? That's a problem, right?
That's true.
As a country, it's absolutely important to acknowledge that when wrong has been done systematically, when it's been done by other leaders, that we don't sweep it under the rug and say, well, that happened 100 and plus years ago, and we should go ahead and forget about that. We're trying to make moves to change that. The way you make the moves to change it is by changing the law, okay? Because that's the only thing that will stand, right? That's the only thing that stands. It's not anybody's word. It's not how we feel about it today, because that may change. But what will stand and what has stand is the law. The Constitution, which we are still under from the very foundation of the America that we know, we still use and we still go back to and we still refer.
Right.
That's what we're under. So if that's the case, I'm sorry, I know I'm talking, but it's because it's absolutely passionate. So when I think that he said in regards to that it was not important, or we shouldn't be getting reparations or any acknowledgement of slavery, no, absolutely. I think that was an honestly ignorant statement. It was an ignorant statement. Because you can't, how can you tell a whole race of people that to go ahead and forget the things that are still happening? It's not 130 years ago.
That part.
It's still happening today.
Right. 130 minutes ago.
Right. we can pull up a video probably right now because, George Floyd and all the other people that we know that we've heard out and they got big media press for it. But come on now, we know in plenty of other cities all over the country of people who died that same way and didn't get the press for it before that happened.
True.
So it's not something that occurred in the past. It's still going on. It's still happening. That would be like someone going to tell someone who's of Jewish descent, don't even why are you still tripping about, the Holocaust? You never hear that.
And see, well, here's the thing, just to add into with that, you're not going to hear that for a few reasons. One, they got the Anti-Jewish Defamation League,
Absolutely.
who have a lot of money and a lot of political pull. Now, mind you, the Holocaust did only happen one time,
right?
As opposed
Once.
to as opposed to institutionalized slavery, which
Exactly.
continues daily. So
Exactly.
however, when you have a political base and a very, very, very heavy economic base,
Hmm.
I bet you won't say that shit.
Yeah, yeah, but and this is the thing though. But you got to understand, the country Germany itself came back and gave an acknowledgement and said, "Listen, we are going to apologize to anyone of that descent. That we're going to apologize about that." They put into practice laws that banned any type of Nazi paraphernalia, even
Mhm.
if it's in their history. They took down certain flags all over the country. There's certain things that all of it is taught. They said, we want to make sure and ensure that this type of thing does not happen again. And
That's
so we
true.
have placed in law some things in our system to make sure that this A won't happen again. And then B, now we're going to go back and we're going to say we are sorry. We acknowledge that it was our fault and that we are going to pay you. Because anyone who's of Jewish descent, they do get reparations.
These are facts.
Okay? They do
And this
get reparations and they
and
can
and
pass
with
down to their generations. I'm
and
sorry.
with
Go ahead.
with you saying all that, that's something that this country has yet to do.
Has yet to do.
They have yet
And
to even acknowledge and extend the apology. So
absolutely,
let's start there. And it's
absolutely.
going back into something you said just now that
Yeah.
the only way to see change is by changing the laws.
Hmm.
How do you bring forth a change of the laws when the hand that's holding the pen that's writing said law
Hmm.
also that same hand that's keeping the thumb on people like us?
Right, right. Um, I mean, it's not something we can, I mean, A is having conversations with the ones that are making laws, right? But it's also giving the knowledge to the people um, that need to actually be going in. The reason why we have seen any change, even on the current laws that we have, right,
I'm
to
ready.
end,
I'm ready to see your answer for this because I got
right,
a few myself.
right, to currently end that was because it's all about, like you said, about the dollar. That's first. If we wanted to make an impact and really get people's heads turned, it's A, when we come together, and it's B, about where we come and collect our money to. So the my suggestion, or what I would say, is that is the first thing. Who is it that you pay taxes to? Where is it that your money goes? Actually letting people know that if we funneled our money into the places that were going to benefit us, then we would see more of laws being passed that would agree for us, that would actually work for us. Because at the end of the day, like you said, it's always about a money thing. It's always about a
Hmm.
money thing. And we have to understand that our vote is worth money. That's why they always holding it back. That's why it's always being holding back. That's why you still have gerrymandering, which is literally the lines of the city and where it starts and stops. That's why that
Hmm.
gets changed all the time. Because
Hmm.
literally an area can all of a sudden become extremely high and profitable, or it can become or turn into what we consider ghettos.
A ghetto,
And
right?
that's all. I mean, we know it. In Atlanta, in the area, Scottsdale, there's two sides of Scottsdale.
Scottsdale.
Yeah, there's two
Yeah.
sides of it though. There's two
Uh-huh.
sides of Decatur. Now we all know, like, Decatur, where is greater. We know that side. We know we
Hmm.
know our side. But the other side of Decatur is one of the richest areas
Oh
in the
yeah.
metro Atlanta area. My point is
Uh-huh.
that outlining. So those types of things, that first we need to have knowledge. We need to get this knowledge out, and we need to have our masses, when I say masses, of people having that and putting our money in places that for people and backing people that are actually backing us. That's one of the things that I think that we're going to have to do. If we look at Martin Luther King and all of these other influentials who actually helped to change law and to do that, it was because it was giving knowledge to the people that were ignorant. And once they became knowledgeable of it, they then gathered together. And when they started gathering together and making those stances and making it aware. And then now we're going to push people who are going to push our agenda. We got to
Right.
push people that's pushing our agenda.
Yeah,
And
and,
go ahead.
and it's one of those things where I think about it like it's going back to something you said again. You said a lot of
Yeah,
stuff, but
I know. It be
I'm
a
picking
lot.
I'm picking through it. But
Yeah, yeah,
our vote should
yeah.
carry weight, and we should treat it as such.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Treat it as something that you covet, but at
Yeah,
the same time, know how to use it for a bargaining chip.
yeah. Absolutely.
Collectively, and that's the biggest word that's even
Mm,
in this discussion is
that's good. Yeah.
collectively. We got my boy Mike Reese in the building. Big shouts out to
Hey,
Mike
right.
Reese. But collectively using that for a bargaining chip. Here's the problem:
Hmm.
getting the collective part together. You
Yeah, yeah.
realize you get 30 black people together and tell everybody to start walking, they're walking 30 different directions.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It's getting on one line, one foot, and walking in that same. I mean, the unity in
Yeah.
the unit.
Hmm.
It's like
In the
we,
unit. Yeah.
the unity in the unit. It just for a lot of reasons it doesn't be there. Prime
Right.
example. Earlier before we went online, we were talking about the uprising here in Atlanta back last
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah.
Do you realize there was people down there that didn't even know why they were there?
Yeah.
The news walked around. First of all, I'm here for George Floyd and other black people. And then you have another dude. Oh shit, my cousin are down here. We finna turn up though.
Yeah.
And then you had your white people out there for white guilt.
Yeah.
That happens. But yeah, it was a big mass clusterfuck. But and you had half the people that didn't even know why they were there.
Yeah.
Other half were just like, I'm here because
Yeah.
it was a lot to it, but that's what I'm saying. The unity in the unit, it wasn't there. Even I'll give you another good example. Ice Cube. When Ice Cube came out
Hmm.
with the contract for Black America that he pushed to Donald Trump, first thing is Ice Cube is sellout because he talking to Donald Trump, man. He not for black people. And it's
Hmm.
like, no, he's talking to the man in charge right now. Whether we
Yeah.
like him or not, at the time, he
Right.
was in charge.
Right.
The same way when Kanye reached out.
Right.
If I promise you one of those things, and I'm a big Kanye West supporter, you have to really dig through the words. Like when we got a good
Hmm.
cold drink, they got a
Right.
lot of ice in it. You got to get through them cubes to get through your drink.
Right.
But Kanye said a lot of stuff that made sense around that time, but they wrote him off as crazy. Ice
Yeah.
Cube, they tried to write him off as a sellout because he wrote this contract that he couldn't pitch to Biden. We didn't know if Biden was gonna get the job or not.
Hmm.
You shoot it to the man that works there. But once again, there was a division amongst Black America because half of them riding with Ice Cube, the other half saying that he a sellout.
Right.
So until we can get through this muddy water of division amongst ourselves
Hmm.
and really get to the topic at hand. I mean, quit getting caught up on the titles, quit
Hmm.
getting caught up on what each other do on Sunday morning,
Hmm.
because for some folks they at church house, some folks I know waking up from the club the night before.
Right, right. And
So,
some
but
people waking up from the night, waking up from the club the night before, and then they end up in church eventually. And then
yo,
I
I ain't gonna lie,
look,
that used to be classic. You be sitting
look,
there like, yo,
listen. That was me. I can't even be. I'm changed now, but that was me for a long time.
oh yeah,
Okay, and at least like
mom's
I'm
had
gonna
that
be here.
mom's had that rule in the house back when I was in my early 20s. Like, look, I don't care what you do Saturday night. You in Sunday school tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, all right, cool, mom. Now, next thing I know, I'm sitting up in Sunday school like this with a hangover.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Jesus, he was a
Yeah,
good guy, good
praise
people,
him,
good people.
praise him, praise him. And you're absolutely right, though. I mean, as far as the unity part, I mean, it's absolutely imperative. I mean, it's imperative, and
It's
that's
it's it's
oftentimes,
it's the necessity. It's the
yeah,
only thing that's gonna keep. It's the only thing that's gonna
yeah,
get those wheels going and
yeah,
keep them going. If we look at, like I said, the Anti-Jewish Defamation League, we look
hmm,
at LGBT.
yeah,
The
oh yeah,
biggest thing that they had, they united. Now, is there division in their ranks? Absolutely.
yeah. But
Between,
overall,
but
hmm,
overall,
yeah,
they united and they made a lot happen, particularly in the last 10 to 15 years on a political front.
Right. Yeah, you absolutely right. I mean, of course, we're looking at almost every state now, having laws on the books, again, going back to not only for marriage, but also because a big topic I know, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago,
With
was
the
a big talk.
bathroom.
Yeah, was the bathroom, but also it was in regards to long-term partners that were together and were not being able to be carried as a spouse on each other's insurance. So that was a huge thing. And so when one was getting sick, when one was passing away, it wasn't being covered. You understand what I'm saying? By
Hmm.
insurance companies, because they're like, well, technically, legally, you're not the spouse. But even though they had been together for long years, there's now laws on the books for that, where they
Hmm.
have to be given the same rights as spouses who are married, if they've been together, for a certain period of time, depending on what state you're in. That may change. But again, it goes back to laws, because how we have to treat people in the LGBT community is different. You have to treat them differently in the workplace. You have to acknowledge certain things. If someone's deciding to be one gender, even though they were born a different one. You understand what I'm saying? Where you can get legal sanctions. You can get legal sanctions, especially as an employer.
I'm gonna be
And
honest with you. That shit to me
yeah,
is too over the top. Like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. But the
And so
point is,
I'm sitting you have a
yeah,
whole beard, and I
yeah.
have to call you they.
Yeah, you have, or if they want to be her, even if they don't look like a her, you have to call them her, like you said, they. And now, because working in property management, of course, that's a big thing, because we talk with people, encounter people who are in those positions, and even about hiring. I mean, they literally train us and take us through various of training that we're required to get every single year to
Hmm.
make sure that we are sensitive to that, because if not, for instance, in that situation, that if you have somebody who appears to you to be a man, right, but they are going through a process, or they're not even going through a process, they just got on women's clothing and they choose to decide to be a woman and say her and what have you, if we were to call them by that, it could be considered offensive, and we can actually, the company I work for can get sanctioned. We can actually get fines for that, because
You,
we are, yeah,
but one of the things about this country, I will say too, and it's just going right into what you were just saying. God, we're too sensitive nowadays. Everything's so offensive.
yeah,
I'm
oh yeah,
saying like dogs, water holes, and boy was your name at
yeah,
one time, but
yeah,
now him and her, and they can
mm-hmm,
get legal sanctions. They
yeah,
called my granddaddy a boy. He had to bow his head, take it, and walk the fuck off.
you're right,
But now he or her
right.
can get you legal sanctions. Big shout out to my co-host Nelly the Troops in the building. What's happening with
What's
you, Shawty?
up? Hey,
What's
I know
happening?
she's like, what's going on?
Yeah, man. It's like, yo, man,
Yeah, and
you
it
doing
is. It's
it,
absolutely. Now I will
it's
say this,
nuts out
because I
here.
want to put this out here.
Okay.
You know, before President Obama became president,
Hmm.
that was a huge question that was being posed, that we need to come together. We need to come together. And because of the
I like this. I like where this is
crazy
going.
numbers, because of the crazy numbers that turned out, people who had either never even been registered, right? And it's still being talked about, the grassroots that were happening to get people registered, to get people updated, to get people happening to be able to vote for that election. It had numbers. Yeah, I don't even know. I'm not sitting in front of the numbers, but I want to look up, and we put it back on for him to actually get in office. My point is this: it's not impossible, but I think what's important is that it has to be pushed like crazy. That this is almost like do or die,
Yeah.
almost like a do or die. Like if we don't come together, then this is going to keep happening. You know what I mean? If we don't keep pushing, that even though we may make a little leeway this year, that we can't stop. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
That yes, we got this law passed, or we got this done, but we can't stop. And I
No.
think when it comes to, like you were saying about the LGBT community and them and the association. First of all, it's one association that is they're putting all of their resources together, and they're saying we're gonna have one association stand up or one agency stand up, and they're gonna be the ones that they're gonna push this thing like crazy. What I find or what I see is who's that organization, that agency on our behalf? Like, can we name that right now?
It used to be the NAACP.
Right. I know. That's why I was like, wait, I'll wait.
I mean, you saw my face after I said it used to be.
I know. Because my point is, like, who is that now? Because we say Black Lives Matter, but when somebody says, okay, well, where do you go for who's over Black Lives Matter?
I remember it came out as like, yo, who gets the money that gets donated? And they found out this brother had embezzled about $250,000 of donated funds to Black Lives Matter.
There's actually so many different associations that have that, but there's not one that comes together and says, look, we're going to be the face of it. It's not to say that it's, anybody's going to get it more than other, but if we can't have three faces and then people trying to figure out where they're supposed to go. Well, if it's three faces for Black Lives Matter, guess what? If I like face one and don't like face 2 or 3, I'm gonna go stick with one. You understand what I'm saying?
Once again, going into the division.
Exactly. So, so tying that back now, Black Lives Matter is so important. I mean, it's an important movement, and I'm glad at least we have something that people have a click button that they can at least they see that it's gonna prompt you to know something's going on. But now we need to get more organization internally. You know what I mean? And like you said, going back to we need to be unified. So when we talk, it's not multiple voices. It is one voice. This is what we need as Black people in the United States. This is what we're pushing for, and we're pushing for it all over the country. We don't care if it's in Atlanta or if you're in Oklahoma, if you in Mississippi or if you in California. If you know what I mean, because that's what's important is that one voice,
right?
That one voice, and like you said, the NAACP that used to be it, but why? I mean, why do you think that's not now?
One, they got outdated. They can't still act like it's 65 out here. One, update the name. You call me colored right now, we gonna have a whole nother problem. So, I think the NAACP failed to keep up with the times, and they let themselves become obsolete in the time that they were needed. Yeah, because they were always needed.
Yeah, but they need it now. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Now they need it, but they let themselves get outdated, and it's like, now you just you remember when. NAACP is now remember when. But going back to what you said about 2008 presidential election with Barack Obama. Here's what we dropped the ball in 08 through 2016, because he did 2 terms. That was our time. Here's the problem. When he got elected that first time, he got excited and said, we won.
Yep.
Right? We won.
Yep.
So what do we do now? Who cares? We won.
Right.
So now, while we running around, we won and doing our happy dance all over the place.
Yeah.
I'll tell you like this. Big business was getting money. LGBT was getting money and rights. Everybody got broke off and won in that situation but us, because we was too busy celebrating. We won.
Yeah.
What was the saddest thing about that? Had we come together the same way we did after we hit the polls and actually asked President Obama for stuff, highly likelihood we would have got it.
Yeah.
Very highly likely. He was signing some of anything for anybody. But the problem was we didn't ask the question. We was too busy partying because we won.
Because we were so excited.
We won. All right, so look, excited. But after a while, got to turn the music down and let's get back to business.
Yeah.
But the problem was we partied for let's say that was an 8-year term. We partied about 7.5 of those years, and then thought about it at the end, like, wait a minute, we should
Yeah,
have asked for some stuff. And he was like,
yeah.
let me know because I'm on my way out of office right now. And it's like
Mhm.
whatever at this point. And then he left. And then
Yeah.
was like, God, we ain't asked for nothing.
hmm Or we didn't, because he was even pushing, and I think one of the biggest things that we'll probably, still continually go back to is about wanting to do universal health care, and having some type of, you know, having that, because we're one of the few power countries in the world that don't have universal health care. Okay.
Because
So,
healthcare is ran by big business.
right, right.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So again, it's always going back to the money. But my point is in that legislation that initially was written compared to what was actually passed was so significantly different, was completely different because there was so much pushback. And so that's the thing that again, it goes back to about having knowledge. Yes, it was important and it was so vital, for, I think, just the the appease of the country to even know that, hey, we actually got an African American, man as a president, and
If you
that it was showing some hopefulness of change. That's what I
partic-
think it,
particularly if you think about the administration we had right before that,
exactly, right,
we need
yeah,
we needed something
we,
to calm everything down.
exactly, to absolutely, so I think that wouldn't have happened in any other dynamic if we didn't have such a tumultuous previous president and everything that happened with that. It wouldn't have given way because everybody was on the mind. There were so many white people too that were like, yo, we hate Bush, okay? Like, I know what we voted for him and we know he's white too, but we hate him and we need something different. Hell, you look good, we're gonna go with this. Because it was so bad. You understand what I'm saying? It was so tumultuous.
But,
But
but but what does that remind you of though?
the
In my
depression.
No, in my opinion, it reminds me of the 2020 election.
Oh,
It wasn't that a lot of people just really liked Biden. They
no,
hated Trump.
exactly.
N-
Yep.
Nobody could tell you go back about maybe a year from right now and tell you what Biden's political stance was. Only thing people answer was man, as long as it ain't Trump though.
Yeah. Look, I heard, I will say, I heard a lot of, it was the lesser of two evils. And then,
These are actual facts.
a lot of people also thought that Biden was so very close to President Obama. They really had, if you look at kind of their track record in regards to how they voted and what they were passionate about, they were on the same page. So a lot of people who knew that were like, hey, this is kind of like having another President Clinton, because we all kind of adopted President Clinton as a black person, you know what I mean? So he's cool. We're gonna go ahead, let him get in here almost like it's a second Obama.
Right, right.
So you
You
kind of had,
know,
that
but
thought process.
but Bill Clinton played the sax on Arsenio Hall. That's enough to get you. That's enough to get you voted in right there.
That right there is like,
When you go on
oh
Arsenio Hall, put on your dark glasses and play the sax. Well,
yeah, honorary member.
yeah. And plus, you got to think who was in office at the time. Another
Yeah,
Bush.
yeah, yeah,
Another Bush. And
yeah.
we had went through at that time what 12 years of Republicans.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like
easily.
some had to
So
shake.
the condition, of our country, yes, allowed for that. But it truly was because there was also so many other people who were like, oh no, no, do not want this, absolutely no. But because again, like we're talking about, unity was brought together. It was like, listen, everything he may not do that we want, but we know we don't want this. And so anything else in between, you need to get on this side. You need to get on this side and you need to push and you need to go. And like you said, that momentum stopped because he became in office and not realizing too that our president, it's important that we have that and who we have in office, but it's even more important that we have the people who we want in the city offices, in the county offices, and in the state offices. And see, the
Local
problem is
elections matter.
we do not press that as much as we do the presidential election. And we don't understand even who is our House of Representatives, who's your senator for your state. Most of us don't even know that. They don't even know where you call them to go and find that out. You understand what I'm saying? And so because of that, but they're the ones that are making when your taxes go up, your property taxes on your car, your house, your boat, whatever you got, when that go up from year to year, it's the ones that are in your city and county and state that are making those decisions.
These are facts.
When you get the income taxes, it's the state that's doing that. So all of those types of things, we're not getting as much excitement and education about what really, I don't want to say what really matters. I want to say
I would, because local elections matter.
Right.
And on a day-to-day scale.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Your day-to-day goings, your day-to-day tax paying, your local elections matter more so than what's going on, even on a state level, even on a federal level.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what's going on right there in your county, your town, your district? That definitely matters more so in your everyday life.
Yeah, your taxes as far as which school it goes to. If you're trying to figure out why at my baby's school that they don't have new books and the books are 15 years old, but if you just go a couple of streets down the road into a different city or a different area, they have new technology, computers, laptops, iPads, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. Well, it's how your local taxes are being delegated. Well, you need to go and talk, to your if you're in a city, you need to go talk to your city mayor. You need to go talk to your city council, knowing those types of processes and actually, breaking those down and getting people educated about that. Like you said, is important. We're not on one page.
And to even add on to that, it's if you really want to see change in motion, go down to a town hall meeting, go down to those local council meetings where you can for real be heard in those places.
Yeah. Go down to the school board office when they have the monthly meeting.
Go to the school board meetings. Absolutely.
Because so many of us will be like, wait a minute, when did they put that in place? They didn't tell us nothing about that. Well, that was last year actually. And they have to notify everybody. They put it in the newspaper. They send out a little newsletter with your baby. It's listed at the school everywhere. And it also has to be on their website. Even the minutes to each of those council meetings has to be on the website. And they put that because they legally have to put it public. But again, we have to be able to know where it's at, and then also be educated enough about that. And really, we're going to have to take some more responsibility. I say, as far as our people, we got to take more responsibility of our education, because yes, we understand that there are things systematically in place to have us to fail. Because of that, that means we have to be more diligent. That's what that means. That means we can't sit back and expect that we're going to get the same equal right to the information that, yes, we should have. We should have. Right. Because everybody else getting it. But because we are in a place that we already know it's not equal playing field.
No.
Then why do you think that it's going to be equally given? It's going to be equally shared. It's going to be equally. No, we got to take responsibility and say, well, you know what? I got to go do that for myself. I got to take the time to go out to the council meeting, because yes, that's inconvenient. They always have it like 6, 7 o'clock in the evening.
It's probably one going on right now in the middle of the week, in the middle of the evening. Like
it is, and
like
it's
7
usually
o'clock
like
on
2-3 hours. Right, 2-3 hours. It's inconvenient to be on your school board and all of that. It is inconvenient, but at the same time, that's where the change is happening. So if we want to be part of and make an impact and actually have a say so in what's happening, we got to be where the happening is going on.
Right, and that's all about, what I'm saying. Really, I'm to the point now to where, forget getting equality in America. It's not equality as we see how it should be, is not going to happen here. What we have to do is create our own equality. One, we got to have equality amongst ourselves, because everybody know that one brother that got out the hood and made it upstairs, and they ain't looked down since. Nah, it's all about what we used to call rope gang. When you make it to the top of the wall, drop the rope down so
Dropped
your
it.
man
Yeah,
can climb up.
that's
You know
it.
what I'm saying? So once we get a level of unity in ourselves and really move in one direction for one common cause, even amidst all our differences, you got to think how many letters is it in LGBTQ and all of
Right.
them?
Yeah, because they've been adding
And
more. They added more
they add
letters.
more, and all
Yeah.
those are a form of differences and division amongst them.
hmm
But when they move as a unit,
They
it
move. They move
happens.
as one.
Right. So,
hmm
mind you, we're black, but whether you're Islamic, Hebrew Israelite,
Yeah.
Christian,
Yeah.
rich, poor, tall, short, light skinned,
That's it.
dark skinned,
Yep.
biracial, whatever, we
Whatever.
still
Yeah.
have to be able to move all as one as black.
hmm
That's a big if. That is a big theoretical statement.
hmm
Is it possible? Should be. I think we'd have to start on smaller scales first. You know, I was corrected the other day when I said something was I said a brother worked at a gospel station and he told me it was Christian contemporary. Man, look, I grew up and I called it church music. Yeah, rap music, R&B, and church music.
Right.
But apparently there's a difference between gospel and Christian contemporary. Who
Yeah.
knew? I didn't
Right.
know. But that's what
I'm
I'm saying.
I'm
It,
Christian. I didn't know
I,
that.
I'm just saying little divisions like that. Like even
Yeah.
little stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And
yo,
it
I
is.
got I got my boy Bam Franklin in the building. Bam Franklin, you might want to go back and watch this one. This one had a lot of meat and potatoes to it, my brother.
I'm telling you. I'm
You
telling you.
definitely you definitely want to go back and watch this one.
It's so much. It's so much. You
It's
know.
it's it's a lot to it. It's definitely
Yeah.
a lot to it.
And definitely. I mean, I will say, answering the question that you just asking about, is that possible? I think it is. However, I think what's always going to make the push for us to have to do it is when our society is so disrupted. We have to get disrupted of our normal in order for us to come together.
But you know, that's how it always happens.
That's, I mean, if you, like you said, we've been talking, right, about
Hmm.
before President Obama came into office, the disruption that happened in our society, the everything. I mean, the whole housing, drop that happened in
Right.
2008. So
Facts.
in order for us to, so it's kind of like, well, how much do we got to go through before we actually be able to come together?
Yeah. And another thing is, looking at the generations, like,
hmm
can these Gen Zers carry this weight?
it's a two-part thing with that. I think it's a two-part thing. I hear so much about them that, yes, they tend to have a sense of entitlement.
Oof.
They tend to have a sense of entitlement. I'm right on that line. I was born in '83, so I'm right on that line where
Okay, so you're my
they,
age there.
yeah. So they be
So
considering
right,
me what, like
so
the Gen X or something,
now
and or millennial,
we
the
would be
millennial.
we would be Gen Y millennials.
Yeah. So, and
Yeah.
I'm like, but compared to them ones, that they in their 20s now, I'm like, no, my mindset wasn't like that when I was 20. But, so yes, you see that part of entitlement. But one of the things that I do see in this generation is that they are some of the most creative. Like, I'm gonna do my own thing, own business. I don't care what my grandmama or mama did, and I'm gonna do it my way. And
I will say that they are
yeah,
innovative. They
they
will.
are innovative, and they really don't have the fear that was instilled in, like, our parents or grandparents, because
I
they
give
were
you
going
that.
through, you see what I'm saying? What they were going through, the situation, like you said. Remember, now it's just 65 that Jim Crow laws were being shut down, but still
Hmm.
they had to go through things. So their mentality of freedom was different. But
Right.
these ones out here, they seem to have like a I don't give a F.
Because,
I don't,
because according to them, it was so long time ago. When
right.
in retrospect, it really wasn't. maybe what,
It
60
really
years
wasn't.
ago?
It really wasn't. Yeah.
60,
I
60
mean,
years ago, you know, we were still getting bitten in the ass by dogs.
that's what I'm saying. Like, it
So
really
it
wasn't.
so it really wasn't that long ago, but to them 60
Hmm.
years is like 600.
Right.
Um
Right.
and one of the things that I do like about it, like I said, they are very innovative. Part of me
Hmm.
comes from their um their lack of wanting to work. It's like, you know what, I'm
Hmm.
gonna make something easier to do this for
Hmm.
me. But then
Right.
if you look at innovation and ingenuity, it was all about making something easier on yourself rather than
Yep.
walking up a hill with a rock. I'll create a
Yep.
wheelbarrow. You see what
That's
I'm saying?
it.
So they are here really innovative, inventing and coming up with the wheelbarrow all over again.
Yeah.
But you know, part of it's from that downside of, yeah, I don't want to go to work.
Right.
I don't want
Mm,
to go.
no,
I don't want
I
to
don't
go.
want no 9 to 5. I don't want to have to be here for 5 years. I don't even want to have to be here for 2, much less 5, or actually retire from the same job. I don't care nothing about retirement. I don't know nothing about that. I'm not interested. I want to make money, and I want to find the quickest way to do that. So yes,
Yes.
in that mindset, it has its double-edged sword because
Hmm.
um, they want to do things that are quick. So of course, everybody goes to social media because you can become very popular very quickly.
A whole
If
celebrity.
I mean a whole and be getting paid, endorsements, all kind of stuff, quickly. So yes, you do have that. But again, if I just believe, and maybe that's always the hopeful side of me, because I feel like that's what it is. If you take that same ingenuity, if you take that same passion to figure out a new way to do something and make it, like you said, more streamlined, make it easier, then can we imagine if we were to kind of direct that or aim that at some of the issues that we've been having for centuries, for
Right.
generations?
But the
You know what
problem
I mean?
comes in at that point is the division. Man, these old nigga always talking to me like I'm crazy, man. They be trying me, cuz. And I'm like, and be like, mind you, you know, before the pandemic, I was teaching 7th grade.
Oh,
So I'm sitting,
I know what you mean.
so I'm sitting there like, little boy, if you be quiet and listen,
Yeah,
and I promise you, if you use the same energy that y'all use trying to cut corners
yeah,
to learning how
yes,
things work,
yeah,
I promise you, I get you a lot further. Man, these
yeah,
old niggas just be talking, man. These old niggas don't know nothing, cuz.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not, and I'm looking at him like, yo, I'm not that much older than you. I remember the
Right.
7th grade. Yeah,
Yep.
it was
Yep.
in '96, but I remember that
Yeah.
year vividly. I
Yeah.
remember being in the 7th grade. I
Mm-hmm.
like even when I was teaching high school, I had only been out of high school for about 10 years.
Mm.
I was teaching high
Yeah.
school, I was about 27, 28 years old.
Yeah. And for them, that's like, oh my God, you're old. You're old.
And it's like, dude, I'm your mama age.
That's why they're like, oh, you really old.
Yeah, but I seen your mama at the club Friday. What part of
Right.
you missing this part?
Right.
My
So
boy
it
Bam,
is.
my boy Bam Franklin chimed in and said they're a spoiled generation. They've had everything handed to them already.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a lot that we bled for, so they didn't have to.
Absolutely.
That is very true.
Absolutely. That's where that entitlement comes in because they're sitting on the backs of the generations before us. I mean, and that's why, because we wanted to make an opportunity where we didn't get the opportunity, whether it was our parents
True,
or our
true.
grandparents, because it's really, like you said, it's only been about 60 years. So our grandparents, most of our grandparents, for some, are still living.
Right.
Some of our parents, if they're in their mid 60s or 70s, they actually remember having to go through, you know, going to school and all of that kind of stuff and having to still deal with Jim Crow laws that are, still were in place. So it wasn't that long ago, but that's what it is, that they're sitting on our backs or their backs for that. So the fights that were fought 2 generations ago, they're now reaping the benefit of.
They're reaping. Right.
They're reaping the benefit. So for them, that's sometimes I think too why they can't understand or comprehend what was happening 65 years ago, because for them they're like, but that ain't going on now. Like I can go anywhere I want to. Well, no, you can't, because
Yes or
then now,
no?
right, because then what happens is then now we start to see where now African Americans, and now we used to have to say African American men, but now it don't matter. Just
Mm.
being black, being in some place, in a regular place, you're getting harassed. You're getting, you're getting killed. You're getting strangled. You're all of that. So again, it is going to have to be a coming together. But I think what we have to do, you can never get somebody to come on your side if you insult them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not
And
gonna get them on our side if we go. And I'm not saying that that those types of things are not true. That no, they don't. Entitled and lazy and this whatever. But let's go ahead and come at it from a perspective of, yo, you have a lot of ingenuity. Let's use that ingenuity somewhere. You understand what I'm saying? Let's direct that. Let's come up with some ways to be able to talk about things that are important to them. Because I think, too, another reason why we can't get them on board is because we keep making their struggles insignificant. Like, I mean, like, real talk. Like, we keep making their struggles insignificant. We keep talking, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you ain't never had to, you know what I'm saying, walk 20 miles to school. You ain't never had to do that.
Uphill both ways.
Right, uphill both ways, in the snow. You know what I'm saying? Dead of winter. Right, dead of winter. And didn't eat nothing for all day. Like, you ain't never been through that, so you don't know nothing. But they're going through things.
I have to ask, what is their struggle?
Struggle. Social media is a help and a devil. Social media have people out here killing themselves, okay? Have them out here bullying these people, and we don't look at, and I say we because I'm in that context. I can live without social media. Yeah. But I understand it's a tool. But can you imagine if you were living and this is all you know? For them, this is life. And you can create whatever life that you want on social media. So, yes, my mindset to it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I think, you good. I think the reason why that's insignificant to us is because when we got bullied growing up in the 80s and 90s, that was because you were in the 8th grade and there was a dude that was about 6'3" who had been in the 8th grade a few times. He punched you in the face. Right. In your real face. Right. He didn't put an emoji down that said da 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 da. No, he didn't type it out. He punched you in the face. So now you got a gut check decision. Do I fight this dude that's 3 times my size, probably get punched in the face 17 more times, or do I spend the rest of the 8th grade running from him? That's how we dealt with bullying. So somebody hitting something on the keypad, a few keystrokes got you all bothered. That's why it would look insignificant to us. It would, right? Because of but it's because of how we look at social media. Social media for our generation is not life. It ain't life. We can live without it. Most people that you talk to that are in our age group, they're like, yo, some of them, like my aunt, she literally just got it this year. Facebook been out for what? I don't know, 10 years now? Maybe 15? She just got it this year. Right. She just got it this year. So my point is, it's because of the way we think about it. But if we are a child who has been living, existing, everything they do is electronic. Everything they do is attached to social media. Everything that they do, for them, this is life. This is a whole reality. We say it's virtual, but it's not virtual for a lot of them. That's crazy. It's not virtual, but it's real. But it's real, and that's the thing. Real. We have to look at it that way because yes, I don't get it. I don't get that. How do you do that? But we have to be able to look at it from their perspective and say, yo, the reason why they think it's so impacting, they get 50,000 people that tell them they ain't nothing, right? For the bullying, right? Virtually, but because this is their life, oh my God, I must not be nothing. I must not, because 50,000 people done told me that I'm not, in addition to you still go to school, you still got to deal with the real folks. And a lot of them are not socially capable. Emotionally, they are not socially capable. They don't know how to talk to people. And I feel like social media is what killed that. Exactly. It killed it. They can't
Absolutely.
they can't hold a conversation
No.
because of social media. Which
Right.
is,
Because
look at the irony to that. The
right.
social media killed the social part. Make
Exactly.
sense out of this, please.
Exactly. But this is the thing. It's like, okay, so you can't communicate in person. You don't know how to deal with conflict because that's another part of being social. That was how you dealt with. They don't know how to deal with conflict. That's where the entitlement part come in, and that's also where the I can't deal when things do go wrong, right? Because we've also set up things even in the school systems now where everybody get a trophy on the team. If you lose, if you never played, if you didn't come to no practice, but you still get a trophy for participation.
Don't get me started on the school system.
But why? But why?
Don't
You
get
didn't
me
do
started.
nothing.
Don't
But
get me
but
started on the school
but
system.
that's a lot. I mean, all of that is kind of tied into it together. And like you said,
Yeah, but I'm
they
trying to get rehired in the fall, so don't
yeah,
get me started.
okay. I'm a, I'm a mm, I'm a
But
mm,
yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those things. I walked into
yeah.
McDonald's through the back door, and I seen some
Hmm.
stuff back there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
so this is how it happens.
Yeah.
I know now. Big shout out to Chandra Butler, LF. What up, though?
Hello,
Like
hello.
like I said, we got people just in and out and all night, and it's like, hey, come on in and have a seat, get your cup of your favorite whatever, and
Look, y'all, you gonna have to go. You gonna have to like replay this, because it was so much meat and potatoes. This is
yeah,
leftovers.
yeah.
Leftovers is on the table.
Yeah, y'all
Okay.
really coming at the end. We've been eating for about almost a little short of an hour now.
Yeah.
We've been in
Yeah.
here, and we was in here grubbing too, y'all. So, like I said,
Yeah.
definitely this is one you definitely want to share. You definitely want to go
Yeah.
back and watch, rewatch, probably take some notes.
Yeah.
Go get you one of them thick books with no pictures in it, and be like, yo, I'm finna read this because I'm finna be smart. They ain't gonna have no conversation without me no more. You know what I'm saying? One of them. Yeah, it's been one of those, man.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those, and it is. It's so much, but all again, it's about unity. Um, to
That's
go back to it, starting in, because I think sometimes we think that we have to be big to do big, and I think it just starts in our communities, like how we're having
hmm
these conversations. um, and I'm trying to teach my nieces and nephews, because I don't have children of my own, but my nieces and nephews, my coworkers, the people who I have influence over on a day-to-day. i'm starting there I'm starting there with the change. You know what I mean? And allowing for that to kind of be like a ripple effect in the pond, and then letting it be bigger. And I mean, other than that, it's like, what else can I do?
I mean, no, you're doing the right thing though. Teaching you can.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
having knowledge is one thing, and one of the things I tell people constantly, yo, don't say this around me because I will step on it. Do not walk around me talking about knowledge is power. It's not even necessary that knowledge is
yeah.
power, it's the application.
I was about to say. I
The
was about to say.
application. Because the thing is, potential energy has the
Mhm.
potential. But if you just
Yep,
got a battery sitting around or a genius laying in a gutter, that's
yep,
potential energy. That knowledge ain't power. Until
yep,
you put that battery in something and hit that on button, or until you actually out here, applicable knowledge is what you're doing now. It's called teaching,
yep,
giving it to somebody else. You got something
yeah,
good, give it away. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
And let that knowledge walk and talk.
Yeah,
That's when knowledge is powerful, when it's being applied. So I
exactly.
say, I say, look, teach anybody you can. Anybody with two good ears and an open mind,
That's it.
teach
That's
them.
it.
Start with the people around you. You said your nieces
Yeah,
and nephews.
yeah.
Perfect. TT
I'm,
baby
I'm
and them got to hear something else besides what I'm gonna get you for Christmas this year.
Look. I mean, you have to, like you said, start there, because that's where you have your influence. You know what I mean?
hmm
That you
hmm
start with where your immediate influence is. That's the people that are around you that you see every day.
hmm
Sometimes it's a conversation. I mean, I've had where other people of different races. We're talking about something with another friend, and they kind of like chime in on it. I'm like, don't get upset if somebody's ignorant. Use that as an opportunity
Opportunity to teach.
to teach. That's it.
There
And
you
and the
go.
fact that they're asking a question, the fact that they're saying something, it's like, oh, I'm about to blow your mind right now. That's how I feel now. It's like I'm about to blow your mind on some stuff. I'm not even gonna get upset because you don't know no better. It's fine. Listen,
Right.
let's come sit down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Let's sip on a little bit of this tea so you can understand, what's really going on in that sense. And then sometimes it's something that will, oh wow, I didn't know. Sometimes they may walk off and be like, whatever. But either way, never stop doing that.
No.
Never stop doing that, because I believe, just personally, and again, that's going back to Christ and everything like that. If I'm a person who is willing to teach somebody, God will put me in front of people who need to learn.
You'll end up in those places where
You'll end up in those places where you
these
need
are
to be.
facts.
So it's like, just keep doing that. Just keep doing that. And those changes will begin to, like I said, be like a ripple effect in a pond where they begin to get bigger and bigger. We just got to be consistent. And again, we got to take our own responsibility as well in part of it. And we got to keep going. Like, we can't stop.
Oh no, definitely not. I mean, it has to be a continuous process, because
Absolutely.
if you look at what happened, all those times we got comfortable, got the leaning on our
Oh, you're
elbows,
right. You saw that comfortable.
we got comfortable and make it so bad we were in a position where we weren't even in a place where we should have been comfortable.
Yep.
But we got there, and then it came back to bite us in the ass a couple of more times, a few of them times. So I tell anybody, like, yo, teach who you can, but also know what you're teaching too.
Yeah.
Because I say bad knowledge is worse than the lack of. You out here teaching the wrong thing and passing that out. I mean, that's just like having a virus, man.
You just touching and coughing on everybody.
Man, I'm talking about bad call. All that nasty shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Absolutely. But
yeah, I
again,
mean, study, learn what you can. Also, make sure you know what you learned from. Social media should not be your be all teaching tool. Memes are not books, people.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Tell the generation behind us that, okay?
Man, so I had heard, man. No, that didn't really happen. Come on here. Let me go ahead and get you down with some books. Cause see, I don't even do ebooks. I still have actual books.
I do too. I like the concept of turning the pages, of having that book in my hand. You know what I'm saying? But again,
Right.
You hear that all the time. People be like, "Oh, you old school, whatever, whatever." That may be it. I mean, I'll use ebooks when necessary, but for the most part, no. I want to feel the binder of the leather.
Yeah, I mean, and that's real though. Like I said, I'm still reading books.
Yeah.
Full books, because that's just where I'm at with it. But yeah, we've
Yeah.
been here hanging out for about a good hour. Yo, I appreciate you coming through.
Yeah. Thank you so
Appreciate
much
you
for
hanging
having me
out.
on. Like,
Appreciate the conversation. It was very dope. Like I was saying, people, yo, she was that one in the class, like, oh, me.
I
So
was.
I was like, you know what?
I couldn't text fast enough. I was like, oh my gosh.
I said, you know what? Come on in. We have your own class. We'll have your own class. But yo, let the people know what you're into and how to follow you and all that good stuff. And
Oh, yes. Well, again, if you are just coming on or anything, my name is Shanta. I am one of the big sisters to, Nelly the Truth. That's it. That's my sister. I'm not gonna give her government name out because she kill me. But I can be found on Instagram at Shanta Bradley. Also on Facebook. I am a business consultant as well as have an event planning company and home decor. So if you are looking for someone, I know we are coming out the pandemic, but according to Atlanta, y'all ain't never had no pandemic. What you talking about?
yeah, you talking about
What you
pandemic?
talking about? That's the rest of the country.
What the hell is that?
So if you need an event planner, listen, I work all over. So absolutely, you can go to my Facebook page or my Instagram page, Shanta's Essentials, and that is SHANTAS Essentials. Okay, and take a look there. DM me only for event, planning purposes. Like, Just don't be DMing me for nothing else.
With
Please,
your
because I
nasty asses.
yeah, I have to put that disclaimer out there. Just I'm saying because I don't want to block you, but I will. Much love though, much love. But yeah, Shanta's Essentials. You can check me out there or SB Enterprise. Go on my website, ShantaBradleyEnterprises.com, and you can hit that up there. So
Dope. Well, shoot, like I said, I appreciate you for coming through.
thank
And
you.
everybody that tuned in, chimed in, commented, liked, shared, I appreciate y'all the most because y'all are the reason that Dope is on almost episode 15 right now. And the reason
Wow.
I appreciate it. And y'all the reason why we've been running how we've been running because y'all been
Yeah.
keeping us afloat. Like, whether it's 60 y'all or 60 of here, y'all, we gonna rock out regardless.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all tune in Friday night, 8 o'clock, the normal time.
Mhm.
Dope Enterprise on Facebook. We will be right here in the building doing that thing we do. DJ Agony, Nelly the Truth, just going through our week's worth of informative news and nonsense at the same time because we got plenty of both to share.
Right.
So we got plenty of that coming up this Friday night. So make sure it's Friday night, 8 o'clock, Dope Enterprise on Facebook. Add it, share it, tag all your peoples. We are almost up to 300 followers. Actually, we are
Woo!
at we are at 299 right now.
Yay!
So
Ooh, I was about to say, no, I mean, I'm already subscribed. I'm trying to think like, ooh, can I get somebody in there to click that one?
we are at 299 right now. So somebody go in there and click that one and be number 300 and tune in Friday and we're gonna rock out. Until Friday night. Two-time ATL's hottest DJ Agony, and I'm signing off, man. It's the God. Peace.
Bye.